Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight on CBS in Denver and CBSDenver.com. Time for a few more minutes with our Xfinity Monday Live guest, Brandon Stokley, joining us tonight. Stoke, we're going to talk about the secondary and the offensive line here in a second, but obviously everybody's talking about the quarterbacks. So as we go through this next week and a half, right, they have the the two practices against Minnesota and then the preseason game, and I tend to think there might be some separation between Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock in those practices in Minnesota and maybe in that preseason game. What are you looking for? What should Broncos country be looking for in terms of separation, and what might separate one guy from the other?
Well, I think taking care of the football. Yeah. The biggest thing you can do is start turning it over and making bad decisions with the football. That's one thing that I think if you do, you're out. If you take care of the football, you got a chance. But if you give it away, you got no chance, especially Drew Lock. He's got a bad history with turning the football over with his coaching staff. And I think the one thing that they won't put up with is bad turnovers. That's the one thing that this Broncos team can't overcome, is when they turn the football over. If they don't turn the football over, they got the right recipe to have a really good season this year. Play really good defense, run the football, make a few plays in the passing game, and don't kill yourself.
Stokley, it looks like to me that has been drilled into both guys as we have gone through these first 5 days in training camp. Do you get that same sense?
Oh, absolutely. Teddy knows that. He's been around the block for a long time. And Drew learned that last year. And Drew talked to the media this past week, and he's told us that's been, told to him, in no uncertain terms. So he realizes it too. The one thing you can't do in the NFL and be a starting quarterback is turn the football over. So if one of them does it and the other one doesn't, the one that's not doing it's going to be the starter.
Yeah, cautious gunslinger, I think, was the term. And maybe that'll be Drew Lock's new nickname as we move forward here. Hey, Brandon, obviously everybody's really high on that Broncos secondary. And you look across the board, especially in that starting unit, oh, my goodness, whether it's Kareem Jackson, Justin Simmons, obviously Kyle Fuller, the new guy, Pat Surtain II, the rookie. How beneficial is it for these two quarterbacks to be going up against that type of secondary in training camp?
Well, you're not going to see much better. When I was in Baltimore my first 4 years, we went up against a great defense day in and day out, and you're not going to see much better. It really didn't make us better. We were still pretty bad offensively. But overall, going up against that group that you got to bring it every single day. And on Sundays, you're not going to see much better than that group. I mean, that secondary is as good as it gets. They got depth. They got players that can play inside, slots, outside. Your safeties are unbelievable, very versatile. So, I mean, that secondary is as good as you'll see.
Hey, those faults on that Baltimore offense, those weren't on you, man. Don't be taking that.
No, definitely not on me. That's just not. That wasn't my problem.
That was everybody else, right?
The other guys.
Hey, Brandon, it seems like when we've had these conversations in training camp, we're always focused on the offensive line, right? And obviously, quarterback's always going to get a ton of attention because it's the quarterback. But to me, it feels like, well, the Broncos, they're somewhat solidified on that offensive line. How beneficial can that be for this team moving forward? I know they've got some concerns at right tackle. It looks like Bobby Massey's probably going to win that job. But other than that, they came into this training camp knowing who their four guys next to Bobby Massey were going to be.
So big, huge. You can return four of your guys back that were starting last year. That continuity, consistency that you have with that is so big. And plus you're in the same offense for the first time in a while, back-to-back years. Right tackle, you got a lot of depth there.
Yeah.
So, you look at that, and that'll be an upgrade this year because you do have a lot of depth there. This should be the best group that the Broncos have had in a long, long time. It should be better than the Super Bowl year. So this is a group that has depth. They have consistency. Bowles had such a great year last year. Then you got Reisner at guard, Cushenberry, Glasgow at right guard, and then you got good depth there. Miners, the rookie, and so I'm looking at this group and I'm expecting big things from them. I think they're going to be able to run the football well this year. They got some good depth at the running back position, but also pass protection. I mean, I look at this offensive line, and I think it's the best that they've had in a long, long time.
Yeah, it's nice to be talking about how the offensive line might be a positive sign heading into the season.
When was the last time we talked like that? I mean,
it's been a really long time, and that I think is going to be beneficial to those two quarterbacks who are battling out for that spot as well. Stoke, we got to run, man. Thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy Canton this weekend. I know that's going to be a lot of fun.
I will, buddy. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, that's Brandon Stokley. That's going to do it for us. Thanks so much for logging on to CBS in Denver and CBSDenver.com.